Harish, I got your versions of the final that you sent over the weekend. I'm going to go through them one at a time so we make sure we get everything. So in step number 3, it says add a constructor. If there's ever a word that you're not sure about, you can be pretty sure it's in the book. Okay, so if we look in the book, they talk about constructors in section 2.42. Okay, it says constructors have a special role to fulfill. They are responsible for ensuring that an object is set up properly when it's first created. In other words, for ensuring that an object is ready to be used immediately following its creation. This construction process is also called initialization. Okay, and there's a whole nice discussion of it in here, which I suggest you look at. Then there's an example of a constructor in code 2.4 for the ticket machine. All right. It says we should expect a close connection between what happens in the body of the constructor and the fields of the class. This is because one of the main roles of the constructor is to initialize the fields. So ticket machine has these 3 fields and they get initialized in the constructor. As far as how you set up a constructor, you can again look through and find more discussion about it in here. If you have an electronic version of the book, you can do a search on constructor, or you can look in the index and it'll tell you. So yeah, how can we tell just from a header that we have how can we tell just from its header that set price is a method and not a constructor? Okay, so you should be able to answer that question from the material that was in here. And if you look, it'll tell you here's a constructor, here's a method. Okay, there are at least 2 significant differences between the headers of the ticket machine constructor and the get price method. The method has a return type of int, but the constructor has no return type. Okay, so we have public int get price, then we have public ticket machine. There's no return type there. A return type is written just before the method name. This is a difference that applies in all cases. So even if a method doesn't return anything, it'll have a return type of void then, right? But a constructor does not have a return type. The constructor has a single formal parameter, cost, but the method has none. Well, that just happens in this case. You can have methods with parameters and you can have constructors without parameters. Okay, but it is an absolute rule that a constructor may not have a return type. On the other hand, both constructors and methods may have any number of formal parameters. Okay, so yeah, so what goes inside here, this can have 0 or more parameters, this can have 0 or more parameters. Okay. The other thing that you need to notice here is that the name of the constructor exactly matches the name of the class. Okay, and again, if you read in here, it'll tell you that. Okay, so this is something you should be able to get from reading the text. So when you're asked to write a constructor for greeting, what does it say? It says add a constructor that accepts a string parameter and sets the greeting field to the value of that parameter. Okay, so let's look at the ticket machine constructor again. Where was that? So this ticket machine constructor accepts a parameter and sets a field according to that parameter. Okay, so that's what you were asked to do, and this is something from chapter 2. Okay, so the constructor, you got to do a copy, paste, okay, and no return type. All right, and this, no, the constructor itself is what, okay, so yeah, so then the constructor, what is a constructor used for? Then the constructor is used in, like in this case, in creating a new ticket machine. If we said new ticket machine with a constructor, then, so let's search on that new keyword. Okay. Alright, so here's a mail item constructor, okay, and this mail item constructor takes 3 inputs, 3 strings, from, to, and message, okay. So when you make a constructor that takes 3 inputs, then the way that you create that that guy, let's look at it before again. Let's look from here. Let's see. Then the way you create that guy is with this, page 89, it says. Okay, new, and then you have 3 strings that you pass to it. Okay, so this creation process does not happen inside the constructor definition. This is after you've defined a constructor, then you're able to create new mail items with this input. Okay, so that's the purpose of the constructor definition, is to say what happens when you create a new one. Okay. So what else? And it says add a constructor. I think wasn't there already a constructor in there? Or maybe not. Modify the constructor. Okay, I don't know. Let's see. So let's compile this. Okay, so now if your greeter requires a string, you're going to have to give it a string. So say hi Harish. Okay, so now this is, so this is where you create the constructor in your main. Okay, that makes sense. So close, compile. Okay, that looks right. Let me just make sure. Oh yeah, the first one. What's the first one with a greeter in it? Let's see. I just want to make sure that's the only constructor we need at this point. So again, like I said, if there's stuff in there that you don't understand, it's most likely going to be in the book. Oh yeah, okay. So we started without any constructor. So yeah, so we're good. All right. So yeah, so that's it for number 3.